Victory to love, the love inside your heart. Victory to the light that shines in your mind. Earth, sky, and stars.
Namaste. Hi, welcome to the Shaman and the Mermaid. I'm Michael and this is my wife Katrina. We're here at our annual camping trip at Lake Wellington in Colorado. We like to catch the wilderness. You can see behind us there's this gorgeous mountain and the lake here. We were laying in bed last night from our pop-up camper and we got a perfect view, and we were trying to tune in to the name of the mountain and the lady of the lake. We had some fun doing that and got some messages. It's always good to go back to nature for us and probably for you too. And we'd like to give you our astrological report. Really, we're talking about nature anytime we're talking about astrology, same. Sometimes we use the word cosmos, universe, nature, ma, it's all the same thing. As above, so below. Mm-hmm. And this month's report is from September 10th, which is the Pisces full moon, with the moon basically conjunct Neptune. And we go all the way through October 9th for the Aries full moon. And there's a lot of trining and opposition energies this time. And there's a couple ways to interpret the opposition, and we felt the opposition is much like a mirror. And so thus we came up with our mantra.
There is a reflection of the self. Heal them both in the heart. We're going to move into Libra this report. The sun will move into the sign of Libra, which is about balance. And if you think of a teeter-totter, and it has that little fulcrum point, and if, I don't know about you, but when I was a kid, you have fun going up and down and trying to get the other one up. But then another fun part was to try to both balance just equal and keep your feet off the ground and just find that place where it has equilibrium between the two. And the energy this time is about that. But when you're on that teeter-totter, the other side is a reflection of your own self. And Libra is about stepping into relationship, not just yourself anymore, but you're crossing that from the transpersonal into help me with the word I want.
From the personal to the transpersonal.
Yes, thank you. Transpersonal to the transpersonal. So you go from working on yourself, Aries, all the way around to Virgo is the personal, and you're working on you, and then you cross that threshold and you move into that descending line, the relationship line, and you move into Libra, and now you bring in other. And this particular report, as Michael alluded to, has a lot of oppositions in it. There's a lot of planets that are exactly opposite to each other at the same time that we're moving into this concept of working with other. And in my personal opinion, and I think many others would agree, that this whole earth walk that we're on is twofold. One, to get ourselves right, to get good with ourselves in our heart, but also to be able to be in relationship with other. And it doesn't necessarily mean romantic relationship with other. It can be business partnerships, it can be family relationships, relationship with the earth herself, but you and some other entity now have to learn how to collaborate and be in harmony with each other. And so also in this report are a lot of trines which give a boon to that harmonization of things. So right now it's asking us to look into that other, as Michael alluded, a mirror to yourself, and see if you can find the balance. And we feel that fulcrum point on the teeter-totter is the heart center, that the way that we are going to heal ourselves and heal the other is through the heart place. And of course, this isn't anything revolutionary or profound. This is what all wisdom keepers have been saying throughout time. But the cosmos, or the nature, or the astrology, is saying put a real emphasis to being heart-centered around your relationships right now, and also looking to see what the other has in reflection to you. A lot of energy around reflection this time, because Mercury is in retrograde during this. It'll end up going direct during this report, but it's retrograde now. So that's a time for us to look at ourselves more under that magnifying glass and take a look at some of our stuff. So that first aspect that we wanted to touch on was the full moon in Pisces, or is the full moon. That's when this report kicks off, and there's a little bit to say about that. What do you have?
This full moon in Pisces, the moon will basically be conjunct Neptune that same day. And then 6 days later, the sun will be in its full opposition to Neptune. But the whole energy is sun is opposite of the moon and Neptune in Pisces. Pisces to me represents, in the positive way, that reflection of self in what all the ancient traditions say, like Namaste. The light in me honors the same light in you. Or if you go Mayan, in Lak E'ch, I am another you, and Ala K'in, you are another me. These ancient traditions, I think those Namaste and in Lak E'ch phrases are Piscean phrases, where we are able to see ourselves in anything other than other selves, like a waterfall, a star, the earth, the fire element. And so this full moon, the sun is our personal self, the moon is our inner world of sensing, feeling, knowing things. And when it's in the watery realms of Neptune and space and ocean, it could be an opportunity for us to really know that reflection of that everything other than us is also ourselves. And to heal ourselves and to heal something else, we bring it into our heart space and balance them. One Rumi quote is, the way to connect to everything is through love. And I think that's a similar way of putting this for the Neptune Pisces full moon.
I'm Pisces, he's Neptune. I'm Pisces, he's Virgo, sorry. And those are opposites of the wheel in general. So we work with this other and self-healing in the heart all the time. And this astrology stuff is not just in isolation. It's a continuum all the time. But it's like when you go through the television and you turn a channel, and this right now is showcasing, I don't know, whatever news station you like, and then you turn again and it's reruns from the Andy Griffith Show, which is probably where I would stay, and then you turn again and it's another show and another show and another show, etc. Everything is happening all the time on those channels. It's just what you're tuning into. And Michael already said a classic Hermetic principle, which is as above, so below. And so when we give these astrology reports, we're saying the channel right now that the universe is having us tune into is this idea of self and other, and that really everything around us is a reflection to ourselves, and to heal it in the heart is, again, the mantra of this time. But I also sometimes think it's important for us to look at the things in others that we don't really like as part of it being a reflection of ourselves as well. So when we see somebody that we're really fond of, and even though we're opposites in a lot of ways, I can see the attraction and the connection in other. But what about the irritations of other? What about the little things that other does that kind of bug or annoy or trigger me a little bit? And that is an opportunity, much more so than I think seeing the commonalities. It's the differences that give us a chance to really move into our own energy body and figure out what needs healing. So if something, and Michael rarely irritates me, but of course we're human and we have those things. And if there's something that is irritating about that he's doing that bothers me, I look at me. What is it inside of me that is not accepting of that, or doesn't have the patience for that, or is lacking the compassion around it or awareness around it? And that's not to say that somebody else's faults are for you to take on. It's just look at how you can have a much more balanced emotional reaction to whatever it is that's triggering you, so that you can keep the harmony between the relationship and still work on the healing. because if I go blowing up at him anytime, or him to me, believe me, I irritate him more than he irritates me. But if we go into that with a balanced state of mind, and to me, a balanced state of mind is the buddhi chittam. It's taking the awareness or consciousness to the heart center, as opposed to the manas chittam, which is looking for external resources to heal the situation. I'm looking outside using my sensories to react or have my emotional experience around it. And I can use my heart place. And of course, if I go into my heart place, something that's troublesome to me, if I go into it with a place of compassion, loving kindness, forgiveness, then I can sit down with Michael. I'm just using this as an example, so I don't want a whole lot of emails saying, "Are you guys okay?" We're awesome. Look at this. But if I had that awareness, I could sit down with Michael and say, from a patient, loving, non-volatile, emotionally balanced place, heart-centered, and say, "Hey, this is kind of troublesome to me. When you do this, this, or this, and I'm wondering if you can help me better manage that." And then he can not take defense because I'm saying it in a calm way, in a peaceful way, and I'm asking him to show me how I can better manage it, so that it's a reflection. It's not all on him, it's a reflection back to me. And then he's more apt to let me know, and simultaneously he gains awareness. Oh, that's a trigger for her. So maybe what I can do is have awareness around that, and what she can do is just say, "Hey, that's, we have a little communication, some kind of symbol or code word that allows us to know we're there," which is so Mercury retrograde in good use, to be able to, slow your communication down so much that you come up with code words for when you're feeling triggered, so that you know to tread lightly or to be gentle with each other.
As a reminder, Mercury's retrograde September 9th through October 2nd.
So it will go direct during this report time, but the lion's share of the time we've got some retrograde. Maybe not lion's share, but more than half of the time we're in retrograde. So to me, that's the big push of this report, is just slowing down enough. You've got a lot of planets in retrograde, not just Mercury, that give us that opportunity to be more self-aware, checking in, and then having that emotional maturity that comes from the heart place. And then you heal both. Everybody gets to win-win on those kind of situations. But let's keep cruising through some of the bigger aspects. What's next?
We have Mercury in Libra retrograde, opposite of Jupiter in Aries. And most of these oppositions are either between Aries and Libra, or Virgo and Pisces. And so it's that part of the chart that's getting a lot of activation, and those signs are all next to each other. One set of signs is mutable, changing. That's the Pisces Virgo axis. It wants to have change brought in. And then the Aries Libra axis is the cardinal. It's like starting something new. So this, to me, is also very ripe for the opportunity to take reflection of the self and bring them both into the heart for healing. When you go through that Pisces Virgo axis, it's about shifting things, changing them, letting go, and bringing in what needs to come in. And then when you hit the Aries Libra axis, as Katrina was talking about, personal, transpersonal, we're teeter-tottering right between that line in consciousness, then we're able to go in to begin something new, a new spiral. One thing that we've been working with lately, how do you know the difference between ego and intuition? Ego wants to keep looping in a circle on the same thing, and intuition and spirit wants to spiral and evolve and move in a evolutionary direction. So that Mercury and Jupiter opposition is between Libra and Aries. And then supporting that, the trine, that fulcrum point for the teeter-totter, is Sun in Virgo, and the trine is with Pluto in Capricorn. Sun is the personal self and Pluto is the soul. So this is another aspect. To us, it's repeating the same theme about how you can have a reflection of Mercury as the mind. Jupiter is things that you believe, society, big journeys and ventures you want to go on, and you can sort of see how your soul and self fits into that. Do you want to say anything? That's September 18th, by the way. Sorry.
Well, Mercury in Libra retrograde. So we were already talking about the Libra energy as I'm bringing in other now into my fold in whatever way that looks, as I said. But we have how do I be in relationship? And with Mercury retrograde for this, first half, it's saying let's really contemplate this, really review this, really take a look at it. And then Jupiter also retrograde is in Aries, as Michael said, but Aries is I want to go, and it's all about selfishness, really. Sometimes it's me, I. The Ram is the first one in the astrology wheel, and it's just born into the cosmos, and it really wants to know itself. And Jupiter is the teacher or the spiritual prowess that the teachings give us, and it's in retrograde. So these two in opposition on that teeter-totter are a way to look at that communication and relationship with ourselves and our spiritual connection too. And I think there's a lot of, if I can understand where I stand spiritually, what path I'm on, get on a path if I'm not already, and start walking this earth walk as a spirit being. Then on the opposite side of the teeter-totter with other over there in relationship to that, the communication is really strong. And there's a line that I have from this kind of quote, and it says, people communicate only to their level of self-awareness. And to me, this is exactly that. Jupiter in Aries retrograde is saying, who are you on that deeper, soulful, spiritual level? And Mercury retrograde in Libra is saying, so that you can better be in communication with others. So that's a big one. That's a real big one. And Sun trine Pluto, that's your heart. The sun is the heart of the lion. Sun's in Virgo right now, but its home sign is Leo the lion. And so this is that opportunity for us to have our soul and our heart in harmony together at the same time that we're to be doing this communication on the teeter-totter with other and self on a spiritual level. So really powerful. And that's September 18th that energy is the strongest. But it's always, within the vicinity. Those are big planets, all except for Mercury, slow-moving big planets that will let the energy marinate for a little while. Then we move on to the equinox.
Equinox is September 22nd. The sun moves into Libra for a new astrological month, and it's the season shift. Libra is a cardinal sign. All cardinal signs are when there's a new season. So it's autumn and equal day and equal night. This is also the shift towards the dark season. So we're beginning to move more inward, more to reflection, more to the inner realms of the soul. And it's no surprise that Libra is the introduction of that energy. We understand our inner worlds better sometimes when we see a reflection of ourselves in another. And that's that Libra energy for the fall equinox. Just a little bit after that, Venus will be in opposition to Neptune. And on the 25th, Venus will trine Pluto with the Libra new moon. What did you have to say with all that Libra energy from equinox to the new moon?
Well, remember how I was saying the little kids on the teeter-totter, and they try to kind of float their feet and get the teeter-totter to balance even, and you just kind of wiggle and find your weight, and you're working with the other to get that. To me, this is that point of the report. The other is kind of going up and down, and right now from equinox, equal time, to that Libra new moon is a time to play in that, really coming into the heart place and balancing it out. Mercury is going to move into Virgo, and that's, to me, it's home for one. It's retrograding into Virgo. But so communication's really strong at this time. And you know how when you're navigating with somebody else giving directions, like for example, when we are backing in the camper into our spot, Michael's depending on me through his rear view mirrors to kind of guide him in. And you have to have really concise, clear hand signals and, project your voice from the back of the trailer to the front of the car over the sounds of the motors, etc., in order for there to be a teamwork to happen. And this is really emphasizing a lot of opportunity for teamwork to be strong at this point. And then I always like to use ceremony around these. And so between the 22nd and the 25th, equinox is the 22nd, and the 25th is the new moon. Somewhere in there, perhaps set your seasonal and month ceremony to kickstart this next season off with new intention. Again, lighting candles, maybe bring things to your altar that represent balance to you in whatever way that might look. I like the scales, the Libra scales or the justice scales, I guess they are, to represent and, kind of weighing things out, what is important to you. And if, a certain job is really important, but the family life is waning because of that, how can you bring this into balance? So you still have the importance of that work that you're doing, but family feels recognized and seen, so this is the time to kind of make those scales come to even as well, just like the teeter-totter. That's what I see at this time.
Nice. A lot of Libra energy. I'll name a few things, but then hone in on a single one of them. On September 25th, the Sun is opposite Jupiter. So we're getting a repetition. Sun and Mercury are traveling pretty close together. So Mercury does something, Sun will do it a few days later. Then we have Mercury trining Pluto, Mars trining Saturn. Venus will move into Libra. These are all happening on the 26th, 27th, and 29th. But I'm moving towards October 2nd, which is when Mercury goes direct. And it's also when Saturn and Uranus have closed in as close as they will this year for their year-long square. This has been a 2.5-year-long energy that started at the end of 2020, went through all of 2021 and all of 2022, but this is the end of it. This is the last time that Jupiter in Aries / going back into Pisces retrograde will come into a very close square with Saturn. And not to be dramatic, but thank goodness. This has been an intense energy. We marked our camping trip. We were here last year at the same time. And there is such a difference in the societal energy right now than it was last September. I mean, it was intense between the pandemic and will there be shutdowns again and masks and vaccinations and who's getting them and who's not and what policies are being enacted and can people go forward with their lives. And people felt very lonely and isolated and fearful. And not saying that that's all done with, but the intensity, at least from the astrological perspective, on that's done. However, there is a shizzle ton of healing that now needs to happen from that. And I do feel that this last closing of the square between Saturn and Uranus is bringing people into a place of reflection. There is a reflection of the self, heal them both in the heart so that people can start this journey, which frankly could take decades for our society to heal what has happened here. But this is a very ripe time to initiate that healing. As we come close to the square, there's reflection about what happened. Maybe there's some changing of opinion, of perspectives on what we thought was happening or what we thought was right. And now we're shifting and saying, I'd rather be in community and in harmony with the other than right. And I think that's a big thing right now is it's better to be healing and unifying than saying, well, I was right back in 2020 or I was wrong in 2021. How about we move forward and find a common ground? To me, that's what a lot of the Saturn-Uranus final square is.
So Michael touched on the subject, and we don't want to belabor this report too long, but I do think it's important. He mentioned the relationships that were perhaps compromised during the whole pandemic time. Families were torn apart in their different viewpoints. There was a lot of polarity within friendships, communities, etc. And this energy, this channel we're on right now from the cosmos is saying this is the time to go back now and make amends, to heal, to learn something about it as well. Not just forgive somebody for their part in it towards you. I mean, that's a big piece. Forgiveness is one of those things that we have such a difficult time doing because our pride is so big. But it's more than just forgiving the other. It's looking to see what there was from the other's perspective that maybe there was error in your opinion about, or maybe you've softened a little bit around some of those hard edges. And so part of that forgiveness is also perhaps giving apology as well. And, I think as hard as it is to forgive somebody, I think it's really hard to also apologize. And they go hand in hand. They're also part of that teeter-totter balancing out. So look to see where there might be some healing that you can provide to somebody else other through your communication of your heart energy to them. So go out there and give those, I'm sorry, my mea culpa, ho'oponopono, and let people heal from your words, as well as even if the other doesn't give you that apology that you might so desperately be needing in your heart place, really, you don't need it. And I know that's big words for me to say, but you don't need somebody else's apology, truly. It feels great. We want it. I don't blame you. I want them to. But you don't have to have it. It's not a prerequisite in order to heal. You can heal without the apology. So if it's not coming, if they're not delivering it, don't hang your hat on grief for the rest of your life. Allow yourself to move on and forgive them, because that's how you do it. That doesn't mean it's forgotten. It doesn't mean it was right. It just means you're forgiving them, and you go on your merry way and continue living the life of joy that is your birthright, instead of being kind of the martyr or victim about it. And I know that's hard to hear. It's hard to hear, but it's an important part, and that's the message at this time.
Well, our theme is Other is a reflection of self. Heal them both in the heart. Any last words?
Good luck.
Thank you for joining us. Namaste.
Victory to love, the love inside your heart. Victory to the light that shines in your mind. Earth, sky, and stars, 10,000 suns shine within us all. Give praise to the one. Victory to love, the love inside your heart. Victory to the light that shines in your mind. Earth, sky, and stars, 10,000 suns shine within us all.